So, imagine getting a health check for the planet's most incredible and irreplaceable natural places. The crown jewels of our world. Well, that report card is in, and honestly, it's got some pretty alarming news.
And here's the headline that should make everyone sit up and pay attention. For the very first time ever recorded, the overall health of these natural World Heritage sites is officially declining. It's a huge warning sign that something has fundamentally changed.
So, you gotta ask, right? What exactly did this global checkup find going on behind the scenes in these places that are supposed to be the most protected on Earth? Let's dive into the diagnosis.
Okay, so all this information comes from a huge report, the IUCN's World Heritage Outlook 4. And the main takeaway is that a ton of these vital ecosystems are now flagged as being of significant concern. This chart really tells the story. For years, between 2014 and 2020, about 63% of these sites had a pretty good outlook. But now the projection has dropped to just 57%. Now, that might not sound like a huge drop, but in the world of conservation, that is a massive, flashing red light. It's the first time we've ever seen a decline like this. And this isn't just some abstract problem happening far away. We're talking about famous, beloved places. In India, for example, the incredible Western Ghats, Manas National Park, and the iconic Sundarbans have all been put on this significant concern list.
All right, so if that's the diagnosis, a declining state of health, what's causing the sickness? The report doesn't just ring the alarm bell, it actually points a finger at the specific threats that are causing all this damage. Let's break them down.
But first, a real quick note on how they measure all this. The IUCN uses a rating scale from good all the way down to critical. So when a site gets labeled with significant concern, it means there are major problems. It's a signal that we need to act, and we need to act fast to protect its future. It's a really serious flag.
So the report identifies 4 main culprits, at least in South Asia. Number 1, no surprise here, is climate change. Then you have the impacts of tourism. After that, we've got invasive alien species that are just wreaking havoc on natural ecosystems. And finally, a growing threat from things like roads and railroads. And this just shows you how quickly the game is changing. Back in 2020, big infrastructure projects like roads weren't even considered a top 5 threat in Asia. Now, they're right up there. The pressures are constantly shifting, and human development is rapidly becoming a huge problem.
To really see how all these threats come together on the ground, let's zoom in and look at a specific case study. We're going to focus on one of the most critical sites that was flagged in the report, the Western Ghats.
Now, to get what's at stake here, you have to understand what the Western Ghats are. This is not just any mountain range. It's actually older than the Himalayas. It's this incredible patchwork of forests and grasslands, and it is absolutely packed with a stunning amount of biodiversity, a lot of which you can't find anywhere else on Earth. And this number should really hit home. 325. That is the number of globally threatened species, from tiny plants to big animals that live in this one area. It's just an incredible concentration of vulnerable life.
So, what is it? What exactly is pushing a habitat this ancient, this rich, this important, under so much pressure?
Well, the place is basically under siege. You've got hundreds of hydropower projects, you've got garbage left behind from tourism that wildlife ends up eating, you have invasive species like eucalyptus and acacia that are taking over the natural forests. On top of that, climate change is forcing native species to literally flee to higher ground, and huge chunks of their natural home are being replaced by plantations. It is a perfect storm of pressure.
Okay, let's zoom back out. Because as worrying as the situation in the Western Ghats is, it's really just one part of a much bigger global picture. The fate of all these natural World Heritage sites matters, and it matters to the entire planet.
And here is exactly why it matters so much. This statistic is just incredible. All of these natural heritage sites, all of them put together, make up less than 1% of the Earth's surface. Less than 1%. And yet, they are home to over 20% of the planet's known species. Their value is just completely off the charts.
To put some hard numbers on that, we're talking about more than 75,000 species of plants and over 30,000 species of mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians. The sheer concentration of life that we've packed into these supposedly protected areas is just staggering.
Now, it's not all bad news. The report actually gives us some real glimmers of hope. It points to a few sites in China that are considered among the best protected in the world. This just goes to show that effective protection is possible. And on a global level, we have agreements like the Kunming-Montreal Framework, which is basically a roadmap to stop biodiversity loss. So the tools and the successful models, they're out there.
And that really brings us to the final and I think the most important takeaway here. This whole report, it's not meant to be a final judgment. It's not an obituary for these places. It's designed to be a call to action.
The IUCN's Director General, Grethel Aguilar, she put it perfectly. She said this report is more than a health check. It is a guide for action. It's not just telling us what's wrong, it's the prescription for how to start healing these vital places.
So, the diagnosis has been made, the threats have been identified, and the guide for how to fix this is right here on the table. The only real question left, the one we all have to answer, is this: will we follow it?